This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to be able to locate this podcast. You can find it anywhere you get podcasts: iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, and even on Amazon's Alexa can read it to you. Today I want to talk about letting go. The last podcast episode I talked about really hanging on, making up your mind, making a decision, persevering, and sticking with it. And so today I want to show you the other side of that coin for a leader, and that includes any area of life in which you may be leading, including yourself, your family, a small group, or at work. You may be aware right now that there seems to be something in your life that's holding you back. Something just doesn't seem exactly right. And you're wondering, what do I need to do? There are several things that can hold people back. One is negative thoughts or feelings about someone or some situation that happened in the past in our lives, or perhaps even something that just happened a day or two ago. And we begin to nurse these hurts, these situations that didn't turn out like we wanted them to. And if we're not careful, it'll grow into grudges, and it will grow from there into resentment. And it can obviously go all the way to anger, which may cause you to worry or become despondent, discouraged, maybe even depressed. It may be the fact that you received some criticism in recent days, or it could have been years ago. Makes no difference. But you just have not been able to let it go or get past it. It could be that you have some compulsive behaviors that you really need some help with. Maybe it's because of the way you were raised or certain situations that have happened, but something in your life may even trigger you to feel like, you've been a victim of a wrong. Things did not go the way they needed to go. Another thing that really people hold on to that they need to let go is that need to always be right, that need to be in control, that need to look special in everyone's eyes and to never have a flaw, a failure, or a mistake. No one other than God is right all of the time. Perhaps the thing that you really are holding on to that you need to let go is a bad habit. It could be smoking tobacco. It could be excessive alcohol. It could be overeating, lack of lots of things. You fill in the blank what it is. And maybe there's some of those things that you just need to quit holding on to them and letting go. Maybe you're one of those that you're never satisfied. Regardless of what's happening in your life, what goals, what attributes you have going in your life, no matter how many accolades you get from your family, friends, and even coworkers, you just feel like you gotta get farther and you have to get more power, more money, more status, a better position, and you're always striving. Rather than enjoying the accomplishments heretofore in your life, you just are never satisfied and want to continue to strive for the next thing. There are some people who just always blame themselves for whatever goes wrong. It becomes a self-talk dialogue of, well, what do you expect? That's how I am. I'm a loser. And they continue to blame themselves. Oftentimes, there are others who don't want to take any responsibility and want to blame others. And sometimes a lot of us just have an unwillingness to let go and quit trying to control. Some people continue to try to control their family, their children, until their children are out of the home and married and have children of their own, and they're still trying to dictate how they live. It could be that you just can't let go of the status quo. You remember the good old days, the yesteryears. You remember when you were really, really hitting on all cylinders and things were really percolating and going well. And all of a sudden it's a different era, a different culture, a different time. And what used to work isn't working as well today, and therefore you just don't want to let go of the past. It could be just plain old, unadulterated fear. Fear of the past, fear of the unknown, fear of what others will think, fear that people will find you out. You may have the imposter syndrome, or you may feel that you're going to lose something or someone or some positions. How do you get to the point where you can just let go of those things? I think one of the first things is you need to make an appointment with yourself. In the old days, Zig Ziglar used to say to have a checkup from the neck up. But you need to identify what is causing this feeling that you have right now, this feeling of unease, the feeling that you're just a little bit uncomfortable. Is it perhaps because you're in a new position and you're being stretched in ways that you have never been stretched before? But you just need to have an examination. Now, you may be able to ask someone in your family, a friend, a confidant, a mentor, a coach, someone close to you to help you explore what is exactly causing you to be so uneasy right now. And to help you identify not just what you need to hang on to and persevere, but are there some things within you, not someone else, you, that you need to have an awareness of, and you just need to bury it. You just need to let it go. You need to put a period at the end of the sentence. Make a choice, though. It's not just enough to be aware. There are lots of people who believe their present employer hired them for what they know. Rarely does anyone hire you for just what you know. They're hiring you because they believe you're going to take what you know and translate that into action. You should be paid and you should have the position because of what you are able to do. But you need to make a choice. It's not just enough to be introspective, though that is exceedingly important. It's what I'm asking you to do or suggesting that you do. But make a choice that you're actually going to let go and you're going to translate that into action. If it's a bad habit you're trying to replace, it's much easier to get rid of a bad habit by replacing it with a positive, with something positive. You really need to dig a little deeper. I'm not trying to be an armchair psychiatrist or psychologist or your therapist or counselor today. But all of us, if we stopped and really meditated and thought about it, oftentimes there are really other underlying drivers. Maybe it's emotional. There was something that happened in school, and I can go back even in my mind, and I've been out of school a long time. And I can remember a couple of events from when I was in school that if I'm not careful and I get in a situation similar today, I can regress back into that spirit and attitude that I felt. One of those was clear back into the 5th grade. You just have to let go. Perhaps there's a person who really bothers you, and if you've tried to be reconciled, if you haven't, that would be the first step. If you had, and it's just your personalities don't jibe, you just see the world differently, some of that you just have to let go. Everyone will not strike our fancy every moment of every day, and it's all right. Think long and hard about the kinds of changes you want to make. Don't just say, well, this is what I'm going to do. And then when you really know what some of those steps are, begin to acknowledge it. I think you have to, first of all, acknowledge it to yourself. If you're a person of faith, I would make it a matter of prayer and commitment. I would acknowledge it if you have a spouse, significant other in your life. I would share it with her or him. I would also maybe share it with a really top-notch confidential friend or mentor and say, here is what I'm going to do. And then regardless of whatever it is we're going to do in life, you know the old saying, when all is said and done, more is said than done. But at this one, yes, you need to say it, you need to declare it, you need to figure it out. You maybe even need someone to come alongside and give you some advice and some help in thinking about the things you need to do. But at the end of the day, just do it. Just commit to it. You can go back to the last podcast episode where I talk about commitment, perseverance, sticking with it, making up your mind. This is what I'm going to do. You have to make up your mind. Now, I'm coming to this, that there are some things that are going on in our lives right now that we need to let go. But I'm not saying let go of everything. I'm talking about letting go of things that we know right now are severely limiting and hampering our ability to function as we ought to be able to function. And you and I can do that. Now, have you ever noticed that many people are carrying around heavy weights? I don't know if you've taken a trip lately on an airplane. Many of us haven't, but in those days when my wife and I would travel, and some of the luggage would be heavy, when I lifted it off the belt or put it on at the ticket counter, put it on the scale, the thing I noticed, they were hard to carry, but they had no weight when I laid them down. There are a lot of serious things that some of you are carrying around, and it's heavy. It's literally back, and even more importantly, it's spirit breaking. If you just lay it down, it's no longer heavy. The weight is somewhere else. Can you let go of some of those things? It's too bad. It's awful. I'm not making fun. It really is and was painful. Just begin to be aware of what's happening. Acknowledge it and do your best to let it go. Developing an attitude of acceptance. A couple of years ago, my wife and I had 2 or 3 rapid-fire situations in our lives that were really kind of tough blows. And we were working our way through it, and it was difficult. But we had to begin to identify of them. There were parts that could be fixed. There were parts that we could own. There were parts that we could make some changes. But a lot of it wasn't really a problem. It was just a fact of life. I couldn't change it, couldn't stop it, no matter how much fretting, worrying, talking, reading, writing. It was the way it was. And therefore, you need to distinguish today, is something is really a problem or is it just a fact of life? If your parents abandoned you in your childhood and you're now an adult, unfortunately, it's a fact of life. It's an unfortunate fact of life. It's painful and it's hurtful, but there's no way you can go back and change that. Maybe you did some really stupid things earlier in your life and you're trying to live past that, but it's just a fact of life. Maybe someone you love has a disease. It's a problem. Let's keep working. But 2020 happened, whether you and I liked it or not. It's a fact of life. If you can't change it, then ask the Lord to change you. What things do I need to have changed? Do I need to accept? And do I need to learn to be content with the gifts that I have and who I am and where I am planted right now and what I'm supposed to do? I think it's one of the key reasons that I love my rituals during my day so much. Regardless of how crazy the environment and the world gets, I know there's some things in which I can count on, and there are lots of things. I would just say, affirm yourself. Again, if you're a person of faith, the religious traditions have lots of affirmations. I'm also a believer that you need to stop and breathe and meditate and pray. Also, pay a lot of attention today to the stories that you tell yourself. If you keep telling yourself, I'm an idiot, I can't get anything right, I don't know the answer. I remember when I started out in 1981, I thought because I'd been to college and grad school, and when I showed up clear down in Corpus Christi, Texas, I thought I was supposed to know everything. And I could almost feel the beads of perspiration on my forehead when someone would ask me a tough question and I didn't know the answer. And I had to kind of hem and haw and pretend like I did until one day it dawned on me. I don't have to know everything. I just have to know where to find the answers. You don't have to know everything, but you will need to know how to find those. So pay attention to the stories you say to yourself. As a leader, I would say to you today, learn to let go of the past. It happened. It ended at midnight. Today is a new day. Tomorrow's a mystery. We may or may not be here tomorrow, but today is all I have. So focus on what you can accomplish today. Now, the past is always going to have some residue in our lives, but it's not always negative. There are wonderful experiences from the past, as well as adversity is perhaps one of the greatest professors in life. It is a mentor to teach us that you can learn even in hard things, in disappointing times, and even times when you wonder, how in the world will I ever get out of this? Learn to let go of it, except for the lessons you have learned. Quit holding on to your doubts and fears. Quit harboring guilt and shame. Realize your past does not define your future. Make your life goal to be a lifelong learner and to gain new knowledge and to allow these past experiences to help move you forward. Quit playing the comparison game. I'm not where I need to be compared to that person. Just be the best you can be. And you aren't in control of everything. There are things that you and I control, but we don't control everything. And right now, I would seriously ask all of you, take some time in the next day or two and really look at some things that you're holding on to that you need to let go of so that you can hang on and persevere in the things that you should never let go of. You have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, please, pretty please, sign up, subscribe, leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to locate this podcast. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better today than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying have a great and blessed day.